This is the Sluggo, slant and go.
Fellas, you came back for episode 76, the season finale. We're here, how many days? 3 days after Christmas, getting ready to eat some Cheez-Its and watch some football.
That's right.
At least most of us. Casey, I think you own the record of this group for being broadcasting from the most states. Where are you tonight?
I'm in beautiful Naples, Florida, sitting outside at the pool deck, just hanging out.
Cool. And Champ, I assume you're in Pooler, Georgia. I call you Champ now. I don't call you Locks anymore.
I am. No vacations for this guy. Still heavy at it at work. Just powering through.
But I want you to remember, Zach, Champ is just one letter off from Chump, right? So I'm the Chump. I'm the third place Chump this year. You are the – oh.
I mean, you know.
He's doing that. You do that on purpose, man, all the time. I didn't rub it in. You know, I've had that belt, and you've had that belt. There's one person that has yet to touch that belt. Yeah. And that's because you blew him off at lunch. No, he blew you off.
No, it was me. It was my boss, actually. We'll blame him.
Hello to Kevron.
Kevron checks in and says, "Good evening, y'all. Got my Cheez-It." He's only got one, apparently, just one Cheez-It. Ready
That's all you need.
One gigantic Cheez-It. Kevron, great to see you. So, anybody got any crazy Christmas stories? I know I'm old because I don't have anything. You know, I could tell you some stories from my younger days, but you guys would be like, "What? They had phones with cords coming out of them?" But no crazy stories were sold. We didn't do anything. And Parker, he's only 15, but I think he's like 85 in life years because he doesn't believe in banks and wants to keep all his money under his mattress. And we had to pull out something out of him to get him for Christmas. He's just like, "No, I don't think I want anything." But I forgot about this. He did go to the Spurs game Sunday night, so that's about three Christmases worth. Right. And a DeJounte Murray jersey, $175, baby. So
whoa!
At the game?
Wow. At the game, yeah, $175. Tickets were more than that. So only him and my wife went. I stayed home.
Yeah, it's like,
I'll stay home and drink $175 worth of beer. No.
There you go. Smart play.
Beef, anything exciting happen? Your boy turned 4 in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he did. We had a 4-year-old birthday party, which is always good. The kid's got more toys than anybody in this world combined. This is my first Christmas ever. This is what I just kind of tear, not in New Jersey. So it was kind of awkward to have 72, 74 degree weather on Christmas Day, but wasn't used to that. Outside in shorts, played golf in the morning. Like, this was weird. So other than that, no, it's been a kind of uneventful Christmas break, if you will, but a good one.
It's in the 70s here too. It's kind of overcast and gray, but it was weird here. I mean, we're used to warmer Christmases like 50s, 60s,
but not this.
72 is kind of awkward. Yeah. How about Pooler, Georgia? Locks? Champ.
Yeah, it was good Christmas. Kids did well for themselves. We actually stepped up and got my son an iPhone, and he's going on a class trip coming up in March. So, I thought it was time. He's 13, so he's pretty responsible. We got our fingers crossed for him, but got the phone, had to set the phone up kind of before, and we did that 3 weeks ago. My wife did it. My son opened the phone up, fired it up. We couldn't remember what password we put in there. So he was locked out for about a half hour until he guessed it. It was the old 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but he tried his birthday,
Isn't it always?
Yeah, it was funny though, but poor kid. He was like so close, but so far away. But we finally got him unlocked and he's good to go now. But that was kind of fun.
That was about what age we got Parker the iPhone too, and he had an old one, and he said the kids used to laugh at him. I'm like, it's a $400 phone, and they're laughing at you. It's kind of things have changed since I was in high school, electricity and all, but things have changed now. Now they laugh at $400 phones. He's got a little bit better one now, so
right. Yeah, you just gotta hope you didn't lose it. That's
it's been a worry. Yes, I kept for like the first week. I told him that's a $700 phone you got.
I know.
That's not that $3.99 and $3.99 plastic.
No Cricket wireless. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, it is a concern for 13-year-old who, one time there's an old joke. I might have told Casey this before. One time I said. I made this joke because sometimes those kids, those 10-year-old boys, they forget to put their underwear on. And he laughed at that joke. Then about 3 weeks later, he goes, "Dad, I forgot to put my underwear on." So it came true. Hey, fellas, let's talk about our predictions. We won't talk about them long because you're not very good. We had some preseason predictions. And when I say not very good, I mean, we picked the Power 5 conferences. So there's 3 of us times 5. Casey, do the math. 110, right? There was 15 chances to get conference champions right. Guess how many we got right? This is your test if you looked at the sheet.
I did look at the sheet, so I don't want to give it away, but it's not good.
Yeah, I didn't get any.
You were 0 for 5. Casey and I
one for 5, right?
Yeah. And I was 1 for 5. We all 3 picked Clemson in the ACC. We saw how that went. Locks and I picked Ohio State in the Big Ten. Beef picked Wisconsin. None of those won the Big Ten. We all 3 picked Oklahoma. No, that didn't work out. Locks and I picked USC, and Casey picked Oregon. No, that didn't work out. Locks picked Georgia. So close.
Yeah, I thought I had it.
Casey and I picked Bama. Nailed it.
Yeah.
And
went out on the limb.
Yeah, you did.
We were 2 for 15 of the conference champion picks. So, but listen, those are called locks. Just go the other way next year when we tell you who's going to win. Pick somebody else.
Yeah. We
had a perfect record in the Heisman. Locks picked DJ. Casey had Stroud, and I had my boy Spencer Rattler. 0 for 3.
Surprise! My guy just made it to New York.
Yes, so we'll give you the winner. And between the 3 of us, you're the winner on that one.
At least my guy played all the games.
And my guy transferred to South Carolina. Yeah. That's how his year went. That's how his year when he transferred to South Carolina. And then we did a surprise, good or bad. No, I don't know how many box I was in, but I didn't write anything down for locks on this one. I don't know who your surprise team was. Casey picked Boston College, which is a good pick, and they would have probably had a good season if it wasn't for an injury. So, or better season. Made it to a bowl game. I picked against Iowa State, which is kind of ironic.
Yeah, here we are.
This week. And I think I was right? They lost to some good teams, but they also lost to 2 6-6 teams, which we'll get to in a couple of minutes. So they had some not bad losses, and they had some bad losses. West Virginia and Texas Tech, though Texas Tech is crushing the SEC right now. So, but everybody does it this week. Apparently, this is crush the SEC week. So, anyway, we were horrible at our picks. I mean, just really, really bad. So. Either next year try and do better or try and do worse so the people can use our picks to go the opposite way. Chancey says, I predicted Rutgers would make a bowl game. Nailed it. Just a little pandemic, help from the pandemic, which people don't usually say, right? I got help from the pandemic. Good call, Chancey. Good call. You can see the smile on Casey's face. He feels like the proud papa all the way in Naples, Florida. Thoughts on those picks, guys? What went wrong besides we opened our mouths? Beef?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, the Clemson thing, we just probably got a little complacent as Clemson fans first, right? Before talking heads, 3 talking bozos. But, I say it. Someone asked me that today. We were around a bunch of family, and they all know my obvious fandom for Clemson. And they said, well, what happened? And I don't know what happened. I think it was just a different year. I think in my opinion, for Clemson anyway, was that there was no like safety valve for DJ, and I think we took that for granted. We as Clemson fans took it for granted back in the day how reliable a guy like Hunter Renfrow was, or Travis Etienne. Heck, 3rd and 7 was nothing. This year, I think if you wrote a book about Clemson, it would be titled 3rd and 8, because every drive it felt like Clemson was in 3rd and 8. As far as Oklahoma, I think that the same thing. I think that they kind of read their press clippings, and Spencer Rattler thought he was better than he is, and heck, he may still be dynamic. He regressed, but he wasn't terrible 2 years ago. I thought he was really, really good. As far as the Pac-12, I don't know if anyone would have picked Utah. I know that they're always kind of creeping towards the top, but I'm not sure anybody in their right. We would have probably been laughed off the show if we said Utah. But other than that, SEC was a toss. You knew it was going to be Bama or Georgia, and it was a roll of the dice. I don't know who I'm missing, but Big Ten, I guess. Big 10.
Big 12. Oh, you said Oklahoma, yeah.
Yeah, Big 10. You just think the way it's been going. I think we were just complacent in what it's been the last few years, and rightfully so. The sample size was getting larger and larger for the teams like Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama. I don't know, Oklahoma.
Locks?
Yeah, I mean, if you go back and look at the, past 4 or 5 years, we went chalk, and because that's what chalk was. It was basically what we picked, other than whoever picked Wisconsin for the Big Ten. That was a little bit outside the box. But Ohio State, Clemson, Oklahoma, USC, Oregon. I mean, USC miserable. I don't know. It's so early, I mean, my God, it's before week 0, and remember how week 0 went. It's impossible to predict anything, So, it is where it is. We'll do the same thing probably next year. I mean, I mean, think about what you're going to pick next year after this year. The pool got massive now after Michigan's in the mix, and all these teams that out of nowhere you're like, okay, then maybe you can trust them, but can you really? I'm still in your head. You're probably gonna go back to like, look, 4 or 5 years in a row, these other teams were dominant. They've got to make a return. So we'll see. We'll find out here this fall.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody made any crazy predictions like Casey did last year with Texas A&M winning the SEC West. Maybe next year. I'm sure after these bowl games get out of the way, they'll have them up there because they recruited really well.
Number 5.
Yeah, at least maybe in the top 3. But I don't think anybody made any crazy or ridiculous picks. It was just a kind of weird season, like you said. I mean, you made a great pick on Georgia. It just fell 3.5 quarters short.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They were great all year. What else could you do? The Heisman is really a crapshoot too, because nobody who's ever favored wins that thing, right? I mean. I don't recall anyway. Nobody that's ever favored typically wins it. They might get to New York, but they don't win it. I'm trying to think of, and the Pac-12 is just a crapshoot. Who knows? Oregon beats Ohio State in Columbus, then gets blown out twice in 3 weeks by Utah. I mean, not just once. It was 38-7 and 38-10, I think, if I'm correct. So who knows? I just saw the Iowa State thing coming. As I said, they're on here quite frequently because of the regional coverage and the Big 12 and all that stuff. I guess that'll go away. But they're on, and they're not as good as they certainly aren't a top 10 team, even when they're good. They can beat some good teams on some days, as they've done with Oklahoma, but they're not talented enough. They can lose to some bad teams as they did this year. So kind of saw that one coming. I guess it was kind of luck, but not too much.
Aren't all predictions luck if you get them right? I mean, we can. You're the numbers guy, Marty, but I mean, even if you skew the numbers, and look at them, it's still luck.
When it boils down to it,
right,
when it boils down to it, I even though I like the numbers and I'm into the math part of it sometimes, or used to be, they're either going to win or lose, right? They're going to cover it or not. So I like to think they're all really 50-50, right? Mm-hmm. You don't know. And what I used to always say is, who knows if Taj Boyd got in a fight with his girlfriend last night and is mad, or whatever, or was dancing and tweaked his ankle, or who the heck knows, or 19, 20-year-old kids, and unless you're Jamie Skowski and you're like 28, or one of those BYU guys. So it's all a crapshoot, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun losing the belt to Zach and
Okay.
expect some enhancements. I sent you a prototype that I'd like to see when I get it back next year. So I'd appreciate that.
We'll get creative on it. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I don't want to see your name carved in the side or anything. Do not bedazzle it with with locks.
Okay.
Don't get yourself a bedazzler there in Cooler, Georgia. All right. We're going to talk about the Cheez-It Bowl. Now, I knew before the year we were planned on sitting here talking about Clemson playing in the Cheez-It Bowl this year. It's a little bit down from where we used to talking about this year. So Clemson, I saw their looked this afternoon, put the rundown together, saw there is still 1.5 points beef before the show. You told me that has changed.
They are. They're now 2.5. I don't know when it moved, but I just looked a moment ago before we started, and the line has moved from 1.5 to 2.5 for Clemson.
Really?
Okay. As we usually do here, the first place person gets to choose whether they want to go first, second, or third on choosing this game. This does not count in the standings.
Okay.
Exhibition purposes only. Locks is our champ for the year. So, Locks,
I got to go first?
If you want.
If I want?
Yeah.
It's what we call a non-title match.
I gotcha. The belt is not up for grabs, right? Just like WWE SmackDown. I'll go first. I can go first. That's fine. 2.5. That's kind of strange. Just close to the game. I mean, I don't think it's still that big of a deal. It might as well be a pick'em. I think. Neutral site. It's. I mean. One part of me is going, Clemson barely covered all year. I mean, what was their record against the spread, Marty? Wasn't it like 2-in or something? They only had like 2 or 3 covers, I think.
I don't remember because once they made me lose, I quit.
I quit.
I quit paying attention.
Surrendered. Yeah, I mean, and a lot of the spreads weren't that they had all year weren't this close either, too. So, I mean, just being a homer that I am, I'm going Clemson and the points with the cover. COVID, I don't know what else is going on. I think Clemson's looking at a couple guys with COVID. Iowa State had quite a few people hit the transfer portal. I don't know enough about Iowa State, so go with Clemson, home team. If I get it right, I look smart, like we said earlier.
All right, and John Chance agrees with you, says Clemson plus the points. Beef?
I'm looking at Iowa State's last 5 results. They scored 48, 21, 38, 30, 31. I know they're without Breece Hall. They have Jameer Brock. I think that's his name. I think I remembered that correctly. The new running back that's taken over for Hall. They still have Brock Purdy. I'm taking Clemson plus the points, but that's just straight up homerism. I don't know much. I think Xavier Hutchinson, the wide receiver that's pretty good for Iowa State, is still hurt. I trust Andrew Booth and Malcolm Goodrich. Mario Goodrich. Golly, I'm getting my names messed up.
Just use the last name.
Mario Goodrich. I trust them on the outside. I'm taking Clemson plus the points here. I don't know why. I think just run all day and trust that defense. Shipley and Pace all day with maybe a little bit of Maffa. Let DJ make nice, easy throws to Davis Allen because I don't know if you guys saw, but EJ Williams is out for Clemson. So they're going to be trotting out the Collins brothers and Will Sweeney as the starters at wide receiver tomorrow.
Saw that.
So I don't like that, but
ouch. Yeah.
Run the football.
Yeah.
Tell him, Newt Rodney. Yeah, I wrote something today for SouthernNewsReserve.com. The narrative of this game is that Clemson, are you sure they want to be there? Do they really want to be there? They're used to playing in the playoff, and how do we know Clemson wants to be there? And a lot of people are doubting Clemson wanting to be there, doubting the coaching changes, the Wes Goodwin and the you guys' pal Brandon Streeter as an offensive coordinator. I see it totally opposite. One team has 5 opt-outs, another team has 0. One team's got coaches that will need to prove themselves, and the other one, doesn't. The narrative is Clemson Clemson has had a disappointing season. Heck, Iowa State was a preseason top 10 too.
Yeah.
They lost 5 games. They lost, as we talked about just a minute ago, 2 to teams that were 6-6. And Clemson's the team that doesn't want to be there. Do we really think Iowa State wants to be there?
Yeah.
Iowa State could win the game. We talked about it. Bowl games are totally unpredictable and crazy. I think I'm like 3-11. Of course, that was how I was trending near the end of the season on our picks too, but that's a different story. But I just think Clemson is going to want to be there. Nobody's opted out. I think they want to play. I think it's the culture of the program. Could be totally wrong. Could be the homer in me. I put that in the article too. Could be the homer in me, but I think the program is that, maybe they don't give a playoff type effort, but do they need to? And it's not just like 5 opt-outs. Breece Hall scored a touchdown in 24 straight games. He ain't going to be there.
Right.
The guy that Casey mentioned, I don't even know his name, 132 yards on the season. I mean, against Big 12 defenses. I don't know. I see Clemson covering the spread rather easily. I would say 10 points.
It feels like Iowa State's strength. I mean, Brock Purdy's throwing it at 73%, 71% completion percentage, which is pretty good. It feels like they're gonna have to throw it. So you're gonna give those defensive linemen time, or a chance to just pin their ears back and go. Wes Goodwin's already come out and said no risk it, no biscuit. So he's going to send pressure, and then you're going to put those guys on an island out there. I love Clemson's chances if they're all throw all day. I do. Just watch the tight end.
Yeah, and one of the other things is maybe it's Clemson's getting the brunt of the don't want to be there because they've been there, they've been in the playoff for 6 years in a row and et cetera, et cetera. So they can't say the same thing about Iowa State. Maybe that's the angle, but it just seems like everybody's saying Clemson doesn't want to be there, but Iowa State does. I'm like, they've had a horribly disappointing season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were top 10 and they're 7-5. And, I don't know, maybe they're going to get fired up and to play Clemson. Who knows? But you said it, Casey. If they can't run the ball and they're going to throw against Booth and Goodrich and those guys, I like Clemson's chances. I really do.
What do you like on the over-under there? 44.
I'd take the under.
Yeah.
Because I think Iowa State's going to have a hard time scoring, and we know Clemson's going to have a hard time scoring.
It's nothing that I would pick if it meant anything, but I think under, but I wouldn't be surprised if it went over by just a little.
Yeah, I could see 28-20 or 28-24 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The best defense that they've played this year, probably,
that's what makes it so
Oklahoma State, probably. But once again, without Breece Hall, they scored 21 points. 24 points. Yeah.
Really hard to tell with the different conferences and the different.
But you hope Clemson can throw 24 up. So I that's over under. That's perfect.
It's a really
probably
good
where it is.
I'll tell you, and going through the season, the last 3 or 4 weeks on over unders were all right here. The lower scoring teams are at 45. The higher scoring teams were at 65, and it was like, what are you supposed to do?
Much.
No, it was really hard to pick them. But.
So, given that 44, that sounded like they're projecting a 20. What's that? 23 to 21.
21. Yeah, exactly.
I think Clemson. I think Clemson probably pulls away. That's just my take. I think even with the opt-outs, the Clemson injuries, all that, who's got the better players? I mean, who's got the more talented players?
And I know Iowa State runs that funky stack defense with 3 safeties, so that it's almost like they're begging Clemson to run it. I don't know enough about it. So I've not followed it. I know Venables took a trip out to Ames, Iowa to learn about it a little bit. So I think it's going to be something a little different. And if they're trying to throw off DJ with different reads, I think it's Shipley and Pace all day long, and just maybe even a zone blocking scheme on the offensive line. Just let those 2 dogs find a hole and go. And but I'm interested to see this 3 safety defense that Iowa State runs.
And Clemson's won 5 games in a row. People are active and scored 30 at least 30 in every one of them. Now, one of them was Connecticut. That doesn't count. But they've improved. They shut out South Carolina. The 2016 Clemson team never shut out South Carolina. The 2018 team didn't shut out South Carolina. I think Clemson's improving. Now, was the last month time to get healthy, or will they lose their edge? Don't know, but I'd be willing to bet on Clemson. If Casey was still in New Jersey, I'd bet on Clemson.
Oh.
or when he brings betting to South Carolina as he's promised, right?
Yeah.
All right. We're all 3 on Clemson, so everybody out there, take Iowa State.
Absolutely.
That's the way it's gone. Playoff games coming up on Friday. Right? Friday? Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Cincinnati is 13.5-point underdog to Alabama with an over-under of 58. The money line is Cincinnati plus 390 or Alabama minus 590. Locks. What you got here, man?
I think these next 2 are no-brainers, man. This is
SEC.
Yeah,
SEC.
easy Bama, easy over for me. I don't even. I see the 58 is going to come into play right probably about 3 minutes into the third quarter, and Cincinnati is going to have about 7, I think, maybe 10 on the high side. But they're just going to destroy them. I just don't think they'll be able to keep up, and it's going to be a big difference in styles of play, conferences. I don't care. Cincinnati wants to be there. They want it more. Alabama's not going to sleepwalk through it. You don't give Nick Saban this much time to play, yada, yada, just like everybody else says on television. The game plan is going to be flawless, I'm sure. They're going to destroy them. It's if I could really bet, I would really bet a lot on this one.
All right. Alabama. Beef?
Yeah, I think this one is the no-brainer. I think it's going to be a little closer. So I've been trying to talk myself into Cincinnati making this really close, and then I do
You're
my
so
little.
good at this. You do it all the time with Clemson, especially.
I do, yeah. So I'm like, all right, because it's 3:30. It's the early game too, so even TV understands that it's not going to be that close. So I went to Cincinnati. All I've been hearing about is Cincinnati's lockdown corners, and so I went to their scores, and they've given up 20, 28 to, this is USF. They give up 28 points to USF on defense. They gave up 20 to a good Houston team. So, they're giving up not a lot of points, but now we're talking Alabama. So what I would probably do is double those points. I just can't see how Alabama doesn't run away with it. I'm hoping it's within 2-3 scores so I don't have to turn it off and start yawning, but it might be good time for an afternoon nap.
In Naples, Florida.
Hoping to make the ball drop this year. It's been 4 years since I've seen it.
It's been a while, right? Yeah, exactly.
Zach, last time he saw it, I think he was 21.
Cross-eyed.
Maybe.
I was up. But,
Maybe. Really, you guys think Alabama's going to blow them out?
Oh, come on.
13.5 points? I don't know. What's Chancey saying over there? Chancey's saying Alabama 24, Cincinnati 13. Everyone thinks Ritter, but they think Cincy, but the Bearcat defense has gotten the team here. Chancey's thinking along my lines. He's thinking of I think it's going to be closer. I don't know about the spread, but I'll go with Chancey. I'll say I'll take Cincinnati in the points. I'll let Alabama obviously to win the game, but I think Cincinnati holds them close. Don't know how or why, but
love it.
I just feel like that's the way it's going to go. As we said, 50-50. You guys went one way, I'm going the other. I think I don't think the Alabama defense is as good as it has been in the past, and I don't think the Alabama offense is as good as it's been in the past. They're really good. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think they're on the elite level, even though they just crushed Georgia a couple of weeks ago.
They're out Mechie too. Mechie's out too. So
yeah, I just think it's going to be closer. Maybe I'm hoping, right? There's nothing on this. There's no $3.99 belt, so maybe I'm hoping that it's a close and a good game. And
I think
half of me wants Alabama to win, But the other half of me is sitting here saying, man, if Cincinnati wins, never hear the end of this. It'll be story after story after story after story on how great Cincinnati is, which I really don't want. So I really want Alabama to win and Cincinnati to cover.
Yeah.
Boy, I covered all the bases on that one. Georgia, minus 7.5 versus Michigan, over unders 44.5. The money line says Georgia minus 315, Michigan plus 235. Locks.
What are we pointing?
I want you to go first.
No, that's fine. I got it. No, it's another one. No brainer. Georgia. Got it. Nailed it. I don't care. I was 6.5. I think we got up to 8 too. Georgia, Michigan can't throw the ball. I don't think they're going to be able to throw the ball and keep up. How did Georgia get beat versus Alabama? Quick throws, quick outs, quick passes, keeping the defense on the heels. No, Michigan likes to run the ball. Georgia likes to stop the run. It's just going to be, two teams punch each other in the mouth. Take the under, and Georgia in the points here. All
right, Locks takes Georgia minus, given 7.5 points there. What's your thoughts on the over/under, Locks?
Under. I think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be super like 10-point game, something like that, but it's going to be boring. It's going to be a very boring game. Look at 3 overtimes, John Chancey. It's just going to be back and forth, running the hell out of the football, I think. I don't know. It's just I just don't see how Michigan can overcome them, though, in this one.
I don't see how they're going to score 27 points, 29 points on Georgia. 29, 9 field goals and a safety.
Yeah, that's easy.
Beef Locks has taken, shockingly, Georgia and both SEC teams, and in blowout fashion, covered the points. Who you got?
Hammer Michigan on this one. They're going to keep it, like Chancey said, within a field goal. This is going to be a pillow fight. They're just going to run the ball. Both teams 9-6. Final score. Both defenses are great. It's going to be the Jordan Davis versus Aiden Hutchinson show on defense. I like Michigan to actually straight up win the game. I like their running game, and we saw how to beat Georgia last week with those short throws, and I think Cade McNamara is just that guy to do those short throws because I'm looking at his stats. Man, I'm not sure he threw more than 15 yards down the field. He's only thrown 4 picks on the year. He's tied for 72nd in the country in touchdowns.
Yes.
I think Michigan covers here, but I don't know who. I'm hoping they win the game. I really don't want to see Georgia Alabama again because it's going to be the same result. I don't care what you say. I don't care who the quarterback is. Georgia fans are saying we need to just plug and play JT Daniels. Right, because that was the problem. That's all I got.
That's all you got. You're emphatically to hammer Michigan. I had planned on taking Michigan until you opened your mouth. Actually, I'm still going to take Michigan just because of the 7.5 points. The hook. I'm not hammering them. I'm just taking them and thinking they're gonna hang close and maybe they score a late touchdown to backdoor cover. But I think it's going to be close. We got to hope for at least one close game. And again, I'm torn because I don't want to see Kirby in the national championship game for reasons Beef said, and I just don't like Kirby. But do I want to see Harbaugh in the national championship game? I don't know. But if I had to take my druthers, I'd take Michigan because Clemson doesn't recruit against Michigan very often.
Wow. Going that deep into recruiting purposes on the pick.
You know how bad this is? You know how bad this is for me? Like, I am rooting actively for Alabama to win the national championship. I've never done that in my life. But I don't want any of the other 3 to win.
Y'all are 5 steps ahead. Man, alive.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's not why I'm taking Michigan. I'm just saying I think the hook. I think they're going to hang close. I think they're a good team and they're going to hang close. But I'm saying on a different level, just I don't want to see any of these teams win the national championship. I mean, but who would I want to see? Besides Clemson win a national championship. Right. So I guess there's no winning this year, obviously. Not for Clemson fans after tomorrow night.
If it's Bama, it's just another one. So we don't have to hear from anybody. You know, you just hear from the same Alabama fans who are just water is wet. We just want it again. That's fine for me. Like
that's a good point. So
none of the other three.
Yeah, but I don't want to see Georgia win.
If Cincinnati wins, they'll write a five-part 30 for 30 docuseries on it.
It'll be out Sunday. It'll be never ending. You'll see, every ESPN platform and channel and whatever will be Cincinnati. And then next year we're going to want to expand it really to 32 team playoffs. Yeah. So Cincinnati has proved that we all belong here and anybody can win this. And even Rutgers at 5-7 should have a chance at the playoff. That's how it's going to be. If
Cincinnati's a great story, but it can end right here.
That's right.
All right. Those are our picks for the Cheez-It Bowl and the playoff. Hey, over on seldomreserve.com, John Chansey has done more than make picks. And by the way, he leads me 3-1 in the basketball picks, so I got to pick it up a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I was disappointed that Clemson and Duke got canceled because I was going to take it to you, Chansey. We'd probably have the same bet, I'm guessing. Right. John Chansey wrote, out with the old and in with the new, talking about the coaches at Clemson. He had some thoughts on the Cheez-It Bowl, just like I did today, and he talked about the Dandy Dozen recruits, which JKJ, one of the original Dandy Dozen, was appreciative of. I wrote today, nobody believes in Clemson is the best Clemson. Because you know how for years Dabo would say that? Clemson was like 12-1, ranked 1 and 2 in the nation, or 13-0, or whatever. And Dabo would say, nobody believes in us. And it got real quick. But it's kind of getting back there, right? Because Nelson had told me, he and I listened to the same podcast this week, and I don't remember the name, of course, I'm old. Somebody was just ripping on Clemson, saying they're all down, and Andy Staples was saying, no, they'll be back. They're fine. But there are people out here that believe it's over for Clemson. And that's when Clemson, in my mind, does really well. It's when Dabo circles the wagons, which all the other, circles the wagons, does all that stuff. They come out and win. We'll see if that happens tomorrow. I'm kind of interested to see if it works out. So I wrote about that today, but more to come on Seldom Reserve in the coming weeks and months. Got things planned in the old noggin up here. Sometimes when you're my age, it takes a while to get it on the internet. Casey has 16 articles. Is that what you said, in the works?
Same place as yours. Right here. I do. I got a ton of ideas.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I've really had like writer's block the last couple of weeks. I think I told you guys a couple of weeks ago that I've gone to, on the Astros site that I write for, I've gone to doing the slideshows.
Yeah, for the clicks too.
I did one yesterday. It took me like 30 minutes to write, 25,000 views. Of course, there's 15 slides, right? And same people see them. Right. It's really on like 1,200 views, but times 15. Yeah. So I figured out this internet thing at 112 years old. I'm getting better at it.
Rich.
Yeah. Not exactly. But anyway, this is episode 76. I'm so happy to be able to talk football with you guys. The picks things was a lot of fun.
Yep.
Making fun of Casey was a lot of fun, but turn around, I ended up in last place. So who's the joke really on here? Who's really the chump out of the three? But really a lot of fun. 2 seasons, 76 shows down. As my favorite singer, Todd Snyder, says, he told his mom one time, it's a circus out here, Mama. And his mama said back to him, yeah, and I bet you're in the sideshow. And that's kind of what it feels like, but I've enjoyed it so much. I appreciate you guys. I know, Zach, you're riding off into the sunset. We'll see you down the road somewhere. Beef, we'll figure out going forward how much basketball we want to do and whatnot. But we'll talk about it and figure it out. But I appreciate the time you guys have spent with me on the show. Been a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, and I want that belt back next year, Locks.
I'm holding on to it till then, man. I'll take good care. Don't you worry.
All right. I want to see some I don't want to see any bedazzles on it. Speaking of bedazzling me, chopping beef tomorrow? What, Thursday?
No, I don't believe so. JJ and I will be actually together. So you never know. Something could manifest. But as of right now, we're not planning on one for Thursday. Just too much going on and me traveling and stuff.
JJ and you are going to be together?
Yes, sir.
Boy, oh boy.
Cool. Old times?
We'll see.
We'll see. Could be like old times. All right.
It could be. It could be.
It's been
Thanks
a blast.
to everyone.
Go ahead. It's been a blast.
In the Seldom Used Reserve College Football Discussion Facebook group, especially Nelson Wilhite for all his help, John Chancey for all his work on SeldomUsedReserve.com, Uncle John McGee, of course, right here in Naples, Florida. Everyone on Seldom Used Reserve Slogo Podcast, each and every one of you who listens, likes, shares, and participates on behalf of Zach Locks Parker and Marty Seldom Used Reserve Coleman. I am Seldom Used Reserve Coleman. I am Casey the Beef Cregan. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you right here when we see you on Sluggo.
I think we're done here.